What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new album Cure from the progressive metalcore band ERRA. This is the 6th studio album and their follow-up album to their album of the year winning self-titled record, which came out in 2021. It's going to be really tough to top that, but if anybody can do it, I believe that ERRA can. The dual vocals from JT and Jesse gives this band a lot of unique dynamics that they can use, and Jesse's ability to write really crazy, cool sounding guitar parts never fails to make me feel insecure about my own guitar playing skills. And if you go back through their discography, you get a steady progression of sounds from the genty technical aspects that was Augment to the creative edginess of Drift and the really crisp, catchy tracks that you find on Neon. There's something to offer basically any ERRA fan to love, but it also kind of leaves you wondering what direction they're going to go in with this new album, especially since the singles for Cure had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people said they're too soft. A lot of people said, they're not quite as catchy. They don't have the same kind of instrumentation that everybody loves about ERRA, things like that. So going into this one, fans were definitely scratching their heads. The album opens up with a title track, which starts things off with a heavy riff and a laser-sounding guitar melody in the verse that flows all the way through the chorus, which shares clean and distorted style vocals, something that we're very much used to from this band. The steady rhythm throughout the song is almost hypnotic, while everything else kind of works around it, which is kind of the theme of this album. It's going to be something that happens quite often throughout most of these songs. And then we have Rumor of Light, which has fantastic, amazing syncopation in the verse, and the chorus is absolutely beautiful. Between the lyrics and Jesse's vocal melody, it just, the emotion just continues to increase all the way through, and it just hits so hard. And even though this song follows a more standard style metalcore, a little bit more of a modern style of metalcore than what we're used to from this band, it is still just so good. I had a hard time getting into Idlewild. It brings more of a traditional ERRA sound to the surface while still being fairly mellow. JT's vocals really shine through. His different nuances throughout the song are fantastic, and the more I listened to it, the more they stood out to me. The drums steal the spotlight in the chorus, and the lyrics, well, they're not that bad, but they do sound a little cliche at times, specifically in the chorus. It doesn't really help that it does get kind of repetitive. For an ERRA song, this one, it felt, again, a little bit too standard metalcore for me personally. Then we have the song Blue Reverie, where a lot of people were saying that Ghost Atlas, Jesse Cash's other side project thing that he has, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing that he does, has kind of taken over ERRA a little bit. And it really shows in this. This is a good example of Ghost Atlas's dominance with melancholy atmospheres, the absence of JT outside of just having backing vocals and the breakdown. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this song. It sounds so freaking good, but it does feel like it's pushing a little bit further away from ERRA at this point. Slow Sour Bleed follows the same kind of modern metalcore trope with minimalistic verses and has a tiny bit of aggression that pops up here and there in the choruses. It does become a little bit more progressive as the song progresses, though, and the break before the breakdown is just a really nice touch, and JT once again absolutely kills it. And then we have the song Wish, which is just a 1.5 minute instrumental. It's super chill, and it flows directly into my favorite song on this album, Glimpse, where the riff becomes extremely dynamic, and I love the huge gigantic chugs in the chorus with the long drawn out clean vocals from Jesse. And again, JT's fantastic, and I think he has clean vocals in the post-chorus. I'm not really sure if that's him who's singing in the post-chorus, but either way, it is the chef's kiss, and it ends with the same kind of instrumentation that that Wish had. It kind of begins where it started, but it's pulling from the instrumental track instead of the actual intro, which, I guess it's all the same thing at this point. I had a hard time getting into Past Life Personas. This one feels like another Ghost Atlas inspired track. Again, don't get it twisted. This is absolutely awesome, but it's not really what I expect or really crave when I'm listening to an ERRA album. The vocals in the bridge are absolutely addicting. I couldn't get enough of them. The music is great. Jesse's vocals are fantastic. The lyrics are good. It's just, yeah, it feels like Jesse's side project more than ERRA. And then we have Crawling Backwards Out of Heaven, which this one feels like they kind of gone back to form. This is, I think it was like the second single that they released. The dissonance in the main riff is very unsettling, along with JT's vocals, which feel great. It's still pretty mellow though, as this one has more of a storytelling focus more than anything else. And then we have Into Excess, which has some really chimey guitar parts in the intro. It picks up as the drums and bass in a very subtle backing vocals just hanging out in the background. The more I listen to it, that started to pop out to me. It sounds really cool. JT again sounds so good, especially when the blast beats come in. And I just really wanted to hear Jesse's vocals just start soaring in this song, because that's what he does. And I feel like this is the closest that we were going to get to that. Until we get to the song Pale Iris, which is the only really like full-blown ERRA sounding track through and through. The riff is just super groovy in the verse, and Jesse's vocals finally take command in the chorus. The bridge really makes for a good valley, making everything else hit so much harder. This is another one of the singles that was released. A lot of people are saying that they didn't care for the singles all that much, but I feel like this one, I don't know, Crawling Backwards Out of Heaven is pretty good, but Pale Iris is definitely up there for me. And then we have the closing track, Wave, which is, again, super groovy. Song-wise, I feel like this is a great closing track. It touches on, I believe, the aftermath of a broken relationship. I feel like that's what this whole album is based on, and just trying to really find yourself and get over it. I'd say that musically, you know, it's pretty good. The riff is the driving force in this song. The leading vocals and the lead melody are kind of memorable. I feel like that's one of the lacking moments throughout this entire album. It does a really good job sonically at completing the album. It's just, there's a lot of lows in this, and I feel like this is like the only high that this album really had in terms of, you know, positivity, I guess you could say. Even lyrically, this whole thing was just very sad, and I feel like that's another aspect of it that makes me feel like has a really strong Ghost Atlas feel. So I got to give this album some criticism first, and then I'm gonna give it a little bit of praise. This was a tough one because I absolutely love ERRA. They're one of my favorite bands. I have all their CDs, I have all their vinyls, and blah 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 blah. And I just had a really hard time getting into this album. I listened to it multiple times. Each time, it did get a little bit better, but my main issue with it was there was nothing in it that made me want to go back and listen to this song or this certain section again. Like, other than like Wish, where it flows into Glimpse, that was pretty cool. But like the first time I heard Alpha Seed, I had to go back and hear that entire song all over again, from the different vocal sections, the chorus, and the guitar solo, every single thing about it. Or the first time I heard the song Drift, where the really cool melody gets interrupted by the drums and the vocals, and there's just like a slap in the face. There was nothing on this that made me go like, wait a second, I need to hear that at least like 6 or 7 more times. Every time I listened to this, it was just kind of like, you just kind of flow through it, you know? And I guess that is kind of an enjoyable aspect to this as well. And I gotta say, I do agree with some of the fans and their criticism. Some of these songs do sound like unused Ghost Atlas songs with JT as a feature more than anything else. But with all that said, I gotta say that Jesse's vocals are extremely smooth. They sound so good. And it's kind of cool to hear him not just doing the same thing over and over again with soaring vocals. JT really shows off when he does have his big moments, and he does throughout a lot of these songs. But like in the mix, he just sounds so good. He's not as in front of the mix as he is in past albums, so it is a little hard to really grab hold of what he's doing. And the atmosphere of these songs are very melancholy, but there's a really strong, decent blend between ERRA and Ghost Atlas. I mean, it's hard to really separate the two. The same guy is writing music for both of them. You can't be completely different, I guess. And this isn't as groundbreaking, I would say, as their self-titled album, but it's still solid. And to me, this is more of like a complete album than what they've released in the past. Even though it's not my favorite, Drift and Augment are up there at being like my top, depending on what day of the week it is. But like, as far as a full album goes, this thing is a start to finish. No songs are skippable to me. Sure, nothing really stands out, but you just put it on and sit back and you just kind of get absorbed in this thing. And that's what I love the most about it. When you start listening to it all the way through, screw the singles, you know, just forget about listening to one song at a time. You got to sit down and really take this in to completely appreciate it. Sure, there's no standout moments, but that's the cool thing is this whole album stands out to me. So with all that said, I gotta give Cure by ERRA a 7.7 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling that this album is going to be pretty polarizing. I tried to make a case for both sides, for the people that, they don't really care for it all that much, and for the people who are absolutely in love with it. For me, I definitely like it a lot more than not. It's not as good as their self-titled, but maybe I just need more time to digest it. As I listen to it more, if my rating does change, I'll make another video, touching on that, how I might, my new rating on the album or whatever, if that's the case. But yeah, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Cure, what you would rate it, what your favorite song is. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you want to help support me and my channel even further, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff helps me out tremendously. Thank you so much, so much for sticking around and taking time out of your day to listen to me talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.